Thank you again so much for such a lovely film. I'm just gonna start out with the most basic question, which is the original inciting idea for the screenplay. What was the?
The original thing that I came upon was it was the 50th anniversary of these in 1972 teenage girls that got caught up in a heist at the Worcester Museum of Art. And so it was in the original idea of it. It was going to be all about these teenage girls, but it didn't stay that way. Anyway, that was the. I had sort of a little collection of art heist, kind of snatch and grab articles over the years, and I came and that. So anyway, that was the sort of starting point. I was sort of excited by those girls getting caught up in it, and I whatever. I was really drawn to this idea of it makes no sense now. My friend saw the movie and he goes, "Well, you keep talking about the circle for?" I was really excited by the circular drives in the old that used to be in front of museums, and that was going to be this whole elaborate thing. But we had like 10 minutes to film there, and it's never mind.
So you have a collection of clippings about art heists over the years, and I'm wondering if you know what in particular interests you about art heists.
Well, just the bravery of going in and just, I guess.
It's a crazy thing to do.
It is a really crazy thing to do.
Who would do that?
I don't know. I stole the sweet potato from Whole Foods while I was just to see what it would be like while I was working on the script, and I could barely. And I wasn't even like at the self checkout where you maybe feel a little something extra, but and I was like, oh, I got this. Like how I was gonna be, just I could still be like, oh, I'm a crazy old lady and I stole the potato, but to just take it off the wall. Well, who would do it? I mentioned last night that when we were filming the heist, like on the days we were filming it, a kid at Bard went into one of the buildings there and snatched two, they were etchings off the wall, and ran into the woods with them, and then got caught. But and then couldn't walk at the graduation. But so I was like, wow, someone's still out doing the snatch and grab. That's that's brazen. Yeah. So I don't know. I just and also just I like a crime film, and yeah. Anyway, yeah. Whatever draws us to. What's not to like about a art heist? You got crime and art. Those are two.
Good point.
Yeah.
I'm also, I mean, as you mentioned, there are plenty of great heist movies, and I'm wondering if there was anything in particular you wanted to subvert about art heist movies, or include, or any specific elements you wanted to make sure were or weren't in there.
No, I mean, I like enjoy Melville's films, and but I just let's see. Well, I thought that I would have the structure of like have the genre of a heist, but like usually the heist would happen in the second half, in the middle of the movie, in like the second act, but I would put it up front, and then I really thought of it more of as an unwinding, coming undone film more than a heist film, and so the heist was like I'll have some structure for a while, and then me and the character both won't have that structure, and we'll fall into something else, which turns out to be a road movie, which is another genre, another stepping stone. But so that was kind of the original thinking of it. Yeah.
All right, well, one last heist question. Because to me, what seems so insane about art heists is then you have a famous piece of art that you have to get rid of. So it's like really hard to cash in. And so I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about Arthur Dove and how you chose which art you would try and
Right.
take.
So, I mean, Arthur Dove in 1970 is has no value. But recently, one sold at Sotheby's for like $1 trillion. So he was really taking the long view, I think, heist. But there was he was a woodworker in our minds. Like, that was one thing he did. There was a whole long scene of him building that box that's not in the film anymore. But he was, and so I thought like a woodworker would like Dove, and I liked the. I didn't realize when I was thinking of using doves that they're so small. Like, most of them are really small, and be like, oh, well, you could put this in your coat. This is a problem. And so I have to admit that the ones we chose were chosen because those are the biggest doves. And so, but started with Dove, and I'm a fan of Dove, and I liked that they seem to, that IMP, it's a library in Columbus, Indiana that we shot at. I thought they fit in like a small town museum, and they just seemed to make sense. And on a practical level, a friend works at the Phillips collection that houses the biggest Dove collection probably anywhere, and I had no idea how to go about getting art for a film, so there was like a practical element to it. But it turns out Dove's in the public domain, and so it's not like really that. But one thing that's interesting of how to get rid of the art, I don't know, it turns out that a lot of people don't know what a fence is. Yeah.
Do you know what a fence is?
A lot of my gay friends don't know what a fence is. I will say, I mean, it's true. Like Todd Haynes, who, well, I just outed him. But he makes films, and he's seen 1 million films. He has no idea what a fence is. Or a lot of my friends were just like, what is a fence? Which it never occurred to me. Like, I could see someone young, maybe, not knowing what I mean, do we still use the word fence? It's probably a new word. But anyway, hopefully you weren't confused by the fence element.
This is the East Coast. This is New York. We know what a fence is.
Yeah,
You live on the West Coast in Oregon.
My uncle was a fence.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a relative that's a fence?
Yeah. So it's true, it's not a gay thing, it's a West Coast, East Coast thing.
Yeah.
I got it.
I don't know if it's that.
Say it's an LA thing.
The Todd thing.
Is it? No, but it's not just him. It's confusing.
I want to turn to the cast. Obviously, the film is set in the 70s, but it's not just the era. I feel like,
Just to clarify.
yes,
Control freak.
is it
It's 1970, so we're not in the 70s
cusp of the 70s?
yet. Right, we're like at the end of the 60s, but we're not, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's,
Rolling
you are, it's, I mean,
Well, but
you know.
Just to be, just like we're in the fog of the end of the 60s, like that didn't work out. Like, and so what is next? Anyway, so there we are, 1970.
Yeah. And not only is it in that very specific year, but you're in very specific social and economic milieu, different for different ones of you. And so I'm wondering if the cast can talk a little bit about how you worked either by yourself or with Kelly to build your characters, if there was any way you did that other than the words on the page. Meaning,
Well,
anyway, you
words
get
on the
that.
page are first,
Yeah.
and then hair and costume comes second, and then you arrive at the dinner table, and that's all set up. We did watch some documentaries that Kelly sent us, some really fascinating little things that are on YouTube about this family in Illinois, who, what is that called?
The Plaintiff Steve Kreinez by Jeff Kreinez.
Oh, if you
Yeah.
if
By
you got
what?
the YouTube,
I
you
think
should
it's
look
the full title by, doesn't
Oh, yeah,
his
you're right,
name by
you're
his
right.
brother Jeff
You're
is part
right,
of the
you're right.
title?
That's
Yeah.
true. And Jeff's partner, Joel DeMott, who just passed
Oh,
away
R.I.P.
last month, maybe,
Yeah.
who's an incredible filmmaker. And her first film, it was both their first films at MIT, and they filmed their families. And those were the
Yeah,
films.
those movies are fascinating, and people should watch those. I was thinking, watching the film today, about the fact that no-fault divorce became legal in the United States in 1969. And I was thinking what a good idea that was, and what a bad idea it was for the young couple. I was thinking they probably got married at 20 or 21. They don't seem to know one another at all. And then they have these children, and they have no idea what they're doing. And what a bad idea, that whole generation, to get married at that age. And obviously, the parents, we also probably got married at that age and had no idea what we were doing. And look at the kid we produced.
I thought a lot about my parents watching the movie, actually, yeah. They were 60s radicals who were kind of like, and now it's the 70s. Wah, wah, wah. And we have kids. Oh no! What are we going to do with them? Raise them, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how it felt like watching the film. And they had like parents who were like, what are you doing with your life? You know, it was very accurate to my family. But Kelly didn't consult me writing the script.
Well, Alana, being younger than us, who's grown up with parents that are different, that she kept wanting to really ask the kids, "Oh, how are you feeling?" or whatever, and I would be like, "No one cared in 1970 how their kid was feeling." Like that question was never uttered. Get the fuck out of your room and get in the car, you know. And she, just it was just so wrong to her how they had to be as parents. And I was like,
And helicopter parenting, that we do now, that's what I do. It has its problems,
yeah,
but I think I prefer it to this mode of parenting.
yeah,
We'll see how it pans out.
yeah. We'll see.
The results are not fully in yet, you know.
So did you all watch the same two films, or were
The family did.
yeah, the family did. That's what I was saying.
Bill, Campman, Hope, and Josh and Alana did. Yeah.
And did the two of you have any exterior references?
I just
or
show up and
yeah.
look
Okay,
pretty.
yeah.
That's what I do.
Fair enough.
I mean, obviously, Josh, I think, had to dig the most, right? He had to become an artist, and he had to become a thief, and he had to become an American, but he's good at that. He learned Italian. He's good at learning things. He's a smart guy. I just had I was a bohemian, which used to kind of be.
You had to smoke cigarettes.
Well, I smoke.
I know.
But I've quit, and then a scene that she cut out of the movie. I smoked a lot and got very ill. I think she was just torturing me on purpose. And no, I don't know what I'm saying. I was, I guess, kind of like a sycophant to Josh. I love him so much. So I based it on Stephen Miller. That's how I did it. I'm going there. No, I mean, it's always easier when you have fantastic other actors to play with, and I was able to show up and have Gabby and Josh there, and it just made it super, super easy. I don't know. What did you do for Josh? What did you?
We made Dawn, who's probably here, our music supervisor, made some tapes for Josh for like what would be on the radio, and then maybe what he would listen to, and we're trying to just Americanize him. And I sent him some essays and some films to look at, just to give him ideas of the period that maybe weren't like so mainstream. But yeah, I think the clothes are a lot of it. Amy Roth, the costume designer, and Tony Gasparo, our production designer, and all that. It's good to get in the world and get in the clothes and be in the house. And
The sandals for winter definitely helped us find Fred.
Right.
Or in his sandals in snow.
yeah, well, I came into the hair trailer thing, and they had shaved him. Nobody asked me about
My whole
that.
body, which was odd.
Right, yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it's a lot. I was like, why?
He asked me.
Uh,
And I was in a panic, and then Amy said, "It's okay." And she told the tailor, "Stop hemming his pants." And so his pants didn't get hemmed, and she said, "Well, put him in sandals. That'll do. Like, she just turned the whole thing into his feet. And that was a perfect answer.
Yeah.
I was like,
It worked.
yeah.
Speaking of the costumes, the lighting, I'm wondering if you can talk just a little bit about your approach to period. You've shot period films before, but whether you like things to be exactly right or whether you sort of take a loose view of how things are going to be and how you work with your camera, to decide what the film is going to look like.
That's Christopher Blauvelt, the cinematographer. In very great collaboration with, and he, yeah, it's a long process, and he gets involved even when I'm scouting, and oof, it's a collaborative with everyone, with all the departments together as far as the look and just I before when I'm working on the script, I just build a lot of books like for everybody and as starting points of where to start conversations of what things. Chris and I looked at a lot of Robbie Mueller and um, and how he the magic of how he gets things to actually look the way he does I don't know, is sort of beyond me. But nowadays, you can kind of almost see what things are gonna. It's amazing how much you can sort of see what you're gonna get. You're close to it while you're shooting, which is really something good about technology. But it's everybody's. Uh, we were all in the same kind of building, working, and everybody is flowing through everyone else's rooms to talk about colors and images and yeah, it's a process. It's the fun process. It's great. And the art team built the museum in this warehouse, the inside of the museum, and that was super cool because I've never really had anything built before. And even if you had like the shittiest day of scouting and you didn't find anything, you go back and something is happening at the museum and people are building frames and doing the paintings and painting the floor and building the walls. And I don't know, that was just I like when all the different departments are coming together.
They built us an entire fort for First Cow.
Oh yeah, they built a town.
Yeah,
That's
in a
true.
town.
That's true. That is true. Okay, but we didn't. Yeah, that's true.
But it's
That
your
was on
first
location.
museum.
That was a
It was my
museum.
first
Yeah.
museum. I mean, my thought of it was a big space, and there was a lot we're shooting there. So I was like, oh, I'm finally going to get to like plan the shots around like, oh, a wall could be all that. But it was in a little warehouse, and you couldn't really move the walls, and the workers were in there until like the second before we were shooting. So it didn't really pan out that way. But it is true. We had our fort. Yeah, I have had things built before.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Um, Along the same lines, and to speak to the specificity of 1969 into 1970, there's just a constant political background, that sort of constant hum of current events, and I'm wondering if you can just talk about how that plays into the film for you.
Yeah, I'll just say that I mean it's 1970, so it's Kent State, and we go into Cambodia that year, and so I thought of yeah, I try to stay with the character. I thought of Mooney's character as someone who's like gonna ride through it and not uh, like he's a little older than someone that would be drafted. He's got 2 kids, so his neck isn't really on the line as far as the draft goes, so it's like not his problem, and he's just gonna the noise of what's happening uh, in the world is kind of at the peripheral of his focus, which is himself. And so I was just trying to film it that way and just keep it on the edges of the frame in a way until it kind of swallows him up. And I mean, I think a lot, like, I don't know, I don't want to go off. But, I mean, why aren't we all out in the streets right now? What are we doing here? But, I myself, I think a lot of us are sort of like, when I talk to my friends, and I think even Hope and I were saying the other, just like, I pace myself on how much I look at, and I just peek at whatever, but, and you try to like live your, but when I was making the film, I was pretty critical of him for having that kind of, but maybe how I'm sort of living now. I don't know, but not to drag you into my thing, Hope.
I have
Hope
my
said,
head in the sand.
Hope said she's not. This is what Hope said. Yeah,
We have to pace ourselves, but yeah.
but they're outpacing us.
Well, I can't end there, so
let's
I'm
not
going
end
to ask a slight.
Anyway, it all works out. I mean, we know that it works out. 1970, that all worked out. So this will probably work out.
I'm going to ask it's a somewhat peripheral question, but I also really think that time is specific in terms of the roles the women play in the family and in his life, in terms of women being in the workforce in a different way. Your character, not so much. Was that,
She's a worker.
yes, you're a worker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We decided that I was maybe a receptionist at a doctor's office or something I could handle
Right.
and still get the dinner on the table every night. That she
Yeah.
had maybe entered the workforce after the kids
But
had
you
grown up.
have a little help at home too. for
Yes,
dinner,
there's some,
right?
you don't see, but there's a cook, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
That's
takes
what
a-
they came up with? Peas and nasty roast beef
It was
and
delicious.
corn?
Exactly.
You gotta hire a new cook.
No, that's
Perfectly
not-
That is very 70s food.
was-
That was
Yeah.
period
Diet.
specific
No, it's
food.
not- yeah, yeah.
Diet.
But you don't
Very
need a cook.
comforting.
You just throw that in the pan and it's done.
John, you're a frontier cook. I don't know what's. Do you want to talk about that? Hope.
The food?
No, the being a woman.
Being a woman
Yeah.
in 1970?
I mean, he counts on his mom, and he
I-
counts on his wife, and he counts on his dad too. Though I mean, he's in a place where this character, he's got a lot of people picking up the slack for him for a while.
I don't think his mother has ever been a very good listener. She thinks she's been there and the table's set and the dinner's served, but I don't think she's been paying very close attention to him because he's not doing very well.
But then obviously Gabby's character, which is such a shift from those other dynamics, and very powerful female character who really at the end challenges him.
Again, that scene was like the last scene we shot. Gabby was there for, it seems like she was.
6 minutes.
Yeah, she was.
That's all
so
she
quick.
works. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she comes in, she does it.
She's been doing it since she was, what,
quick.
3?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
So, but yeah, that was the last scene we shot, which was kind of wild. But anyway, yeah, that's the movie.
Thank you so much for coming to share it with us. Really, thank you.